What is going on, everybody? Today we're looking at the Hasbro Marvel Legends Squadron Supreme 2-pack of Nighthawk and Blur. So this looks really cool. Continue on with more of our Squadron Supreme characters, where we already had Hyperion and Dr. Spectrum 2-pack already, and I know we have Power Princess coming soon. So it looks very cool to get these two characters of Nighthawk and Blur. So those look really cool. If we spin around to the back, we can see each one and the accessories they're going to come with, and then we have comic pictures of them there on the side. So very cool to get this. I'm excited to continue to build our Squadron Supreme. So let me get these out of the box and we'll take a look at them together. So we're going to start off with Nighthawk, which if you don't remember, the Squadron Supreme is Marvel's version of the Justice League, so each character has a counterpart to the Justice League. So for Nighthawk, it is Batman, but in this form, it's Kyle Richmond, and I believe they're basing this off the 616 universe, which is like the normal Marvel universe, but in that universe, the Squadron Supreme was created by Mephisto, which is kind of like characters he made up, but eventually the 616 Squadron Supreme would end up merging up with their 21798 counterparts. So in that version for Kyle Richmond, as a child, he was never wanted and neglected by his parents, so he was raised by the hired help. When he was older, he began to fight crime to make his parents happy, but he was actually doing it to satisfy his own desires, and eventually he took a serum that augmented his physical abilities, which were more effective at night, and during the day he represented Washington, D.C. in the House of Representatives. So, a little bit of a Batman story. Obviously, the more classic design of Nighthawk is pretty much straight up the Batman story, obviously just different characters, but for this version, since there's, alternate reality, and then like I said, they ended up merging with the 616, which is just people made up. It's all kind of confusing for their backstories, but he has super strength, durability, reflexes, and senses, as well being an expert martial artist and detective. So again, has that part of Batman, but because of that serum, gave him superpowers. And overall, he looks pretty cool. So again, this is the more modern design, so where he is a black character now, which I like the design. I think looks pretty good. Obviously, from the box art, is a little messed up, like the wings there on the side of his head are a little bit, and along with his cape and stuff. So not the best shape wise, but overall I think it looks pretty cool. And again, supposed to have that sort of Batman influence. So he has a hawk, so he's got bird design, so he's got the wings coming off of his head, and then like the point there on his nose, so again supposed to be like a hawk face. And then I love his red cape, so it has like high color pieces there coming out to the side, black on the back, again looks very Batman like, but red on the inside. And then we have his outfit, which is mostly this all dark blue color, but does have some gold running through it. Again, supposed to be like that bird design there, going down to the gold belt where he's got the black underwear, black gloves on his hands, and black boots there on his feet. So overall, I like this design. I like the classic design more that I'll show you, and I wish they would just have redone that figure, like upgraded it with the new joints. But having this form as well, since this is the more recent, newer version of the Squadron Supreme, this works out fine as well. But moon-wise, we get the head that'll twist all the way around. It's kind of hard with his cape piece, but can twist around, look down that far, and up that far. So really good movement with that hinge joint in there. The shoulders do come up to 90 with the butterfly joint back and forth and rotate around. Actually, I'll probably just take his cape off to get better range. We get a bicep twist and the double elbow joint that bends up that far. Wrist will twist all the way around and hinge back and forth. Then we get the ab crunch in the middle, so crunch forward, crunch back, so pretty decent crunching. Twist all the way around at the waist. The hips can come up to 90 and out to the side. Thigh twist all the way around. The double knee joint that can bend up a little bit stiff, but can bend up that far to the back. Shin twist at the top of the boot, and the foot flex back and forth and twist side to side. So pretty decent movements. There's some stiffness, and again, those pinless joints for the elbows and knees, which like I said, happens quite a bit with them. So it's not bad. You just have to sort of get them loosened up. But overall, he works out just fine in this form. Like I said, it's nice having it with all pinless joints. But accessory-wise, he does come with some additional hands. So he has just two fist hands there, but he does come with some more open hands. So we got just open hands like that, which I wish he had more of like a grip hand, because he does also come with some hawk rings. So we had 3 of them. I can't really get a hold of them all. So again, like the batarangs, but they're supposed to be hawk rings as they're called. So we have those. They're real nice, like flimsy little things. So you should be able to get them in hands pretty decently. Now I don't know with his hands. Like I said, I wish we had like grip hands, because I don't really know how he'd hold them, because they seem a little bit too big even for like this hand. And that's only like grip hand you'd probably be able to use them in. So I don't really know unless you do it like that. I guess we could try and put all 3 in his hand. So I guess you could try and put them all 3 in his hand like that, like he's thrown, like we've seen Batman do before. So that is an option, I guess, but that's really the only thing you can do with him, because he doesn't have anywhere to store them on him or anything. So you can't store them, so you just have to have them in his hand. So let's switch this hand out. So there he's got the hawk rings. Like I said, that's probably not the best. They do fall out of his hand pretty easily still, but that's about the best I can get him to do anything with them. Now, of course, as I mentioned, we do have the original version of Nighthawk, which like I said, I wish they would have just redone this figure with the newer body, because this one has a lot of issues standing up and the legs and everything are so old it's hard to really get him to stand at all. So I wish they would have just redone this version. Hopefully they will just redo this version at some point, just so we can have the classic Nighthawk as well. But yeah, you can just see the difference between the older version of Nighthawk and this newer version that they're using now in the comic universes. But like I said, overall I like the other design more, but this one looks just fine the way he is and I don't mind it at all. And then we also have the Blur, which is Stanley's suit from Earth 21-798. And so he's the counterpart to the Flash. So he has the Flash powers and got his powers, I want to say, relatively similar. I believe he got him in like a fog and struck by lightning and got super speed. But for him, when he first obtained his powers, he went to the Karmitage Monastery, where the Ancient One taught him how to control his powers and focus his attention. So it's really the only story I could really find about this version of the Blur. But of course, for powers, he has superhuman speed and reflexes. So again, he's just like the Flash. And overall, I like this design. Like, I think it looks pretty cool. You know, I like how he's got the red goggles, the lightning coming off him. So again, very similar to the Flash. But I love how it's mostly all black. So it has like the head covering that goes down the center to his underwear that's all in black, and then yellow everywhere else. So yellow on the midsection and going down the legs. So he's got the black gloves and boots. Nice red belt around the waist. So it stands out and adds a little bit of color that sort of matches with his glasses. And then he has the yellow there on his ears as well. And you can kind of see like a lightning bolt design there in the black. So I like the design. It doesn't like stand out a lot or anything. It's not like the most fantastic outfit design, but I think it's fine. But movement wise, we get the head that'll twist all the way around, can look down that far and up that far, so pretty decent movements. The shoulders do come up to 90 with the butterfly joint back and forth, so it can go really far there. Then the shoulders rotate all the way around. We get the bicep twist and the double elbow joint. That's again a little bit stiff on him, but can bend up at least that far. The wrist will twist around and hinge back and forth. Then we go to the ab crunch, so we have the cutout there, so forward and back, so pretty decent, a lot of popping in there. Twist all the way around at the waist. The hips can come up to 90 and out to the side. Thigh twist all the way around. He's got the double knee joint that's pretty stiff on him, unfortunately, but if you get it loosened, can bend up that far to the back, almost kicking his butt. We get the shin twist at the top of the boot, and the foot will flex back and forth and twist side to side. So yeah, once again, with those pinless joints, they're pretty stiff on him for the knees and elbows, but I like the way it works out just fine for him. Now, accessory-wise, the only thing he comes with, unfortunately, is some open hands, so pretty similar to Nighthawk. So I wish he had better designed hands, because they're literally like almost the exact same hands, just in a little smaller version. But for the older figure, the closest thing we have is Speed Demon, which Speed Demon at one point was called Wizard, which was a part of the original Squadron Supreme, so I brought him in. But this is Blur, so a completely different name and character, so they don't fit, but design-wise, you can kind of see has the lightning with the red goggles and everything, so obviously there's not too much difference. But one thing I just wish with this one is that he would have come with the flat hands for running, because this one had the two flat hands, so I wish he would have had that instead of those hands that we got, just so you can make him look like he's running. But so that's a little bit of a letdown for him, but overall I do like this design. So now that we have our two characters of Nighthawk and Blur, we can bring in our other Squadron Supreme characters we got from that last 2-pack of Hyperion and Dr. Spectrum. So again, continuing to build out more of the Squadron Supreme, and we have Power Princess coming soon as well, so she'll be able to add in here and sort of round off our squad of 5 there. So pretty cool to get this 2-pack with Nighthawk and Blur. I like both characters design-wise and stuff. Like I said, I would just prefer more of their original designs to have more of the classic Squadron Supreme as opposed to this version, but I don't have any issues wrong. Like, the figures themselves work just fine. Like I said, a little bit of stiffness with the pinless elbows and knees. Oh, and a better selection of hands, like for Nighthawk to be able to hold the hawk rings, and for Blur to be able to have the flat hands for running. But other than that, they're still fine figures, nothing wrong with them at all. And as I said with this here, awesome to add more characters to our Squadron Supreme. So let me know what you thought of these two figures down in the comments, and if you enjoyed this review, write me with a thumbs up. But thank y'all for watching. I hope you all stay awesome out there, and I'll see you in our next review.